Alrighty, folks, what's going on? This is Matt here for Dark One Last Stick in Gaming, where it's the fusion of Linux technology and gaming. And we are looking at a video that popped up across my feed simply titled, Why and How to Switch to Linux as a Windows User. Now, I've been over this topic and I've kind of hammered home how I view it. Maybe somebody has a different take. Who the hell knows? Let's see what they got to say. I'm curious. I will probably hold my judgment because they're... When you hashtag something tech bros, I always, God. So let's roll into to see what Dingdong here has to say.
Hey there, tech trailblazers. Are you a Windows user who's feeling the weight of...
You know, I've messed around with AI generated videos and stuff kind of on my own time. And the voice stuff can be pretty good. Some of the video editing can be pretty good. I won't even deny that, using like stock footage and stuff that you can use. This is like the most robotic audio you can get when it comes to AI generation. This makes Siri sound fucking coherently straightforward. God damn. Okay. Anyway.
weight of bloatware, the frustration of forced updates, and the constant anxiety of security vulnerabilities? Well, it's time to break free from the shackles of Windows and embrace a new world of computing, Linux.
So, tech trends. Okay, cool. And now is this going to be one of those like AI generated content platform videos? Because God help me. Like I said, I've messed around with a few of the AI stuff and it can be interesting. It can be pretty cool. It can be kind of accurate on some things. I've messed around with certain things on it. I did a kind of review, like I told AI to basically write a 2 to 3 minute YouTube video and review Syndicate 2012. And overall, the quality was actually pretty good, from the editing to the script itself. Though it did need some tweaking, regardless of if you're just gonna use general AI. I don't know about that, especially when it comes to very niche and specific things. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not holding out much hope for some of these reasons.
What is Linux? Imagine an operating system that's free of corporate shackles, open to customization, and built on the principles of transparency and community. That's...
No, if you're talking from a development point of view, transparency and community, yes, development-wise, you are totally correct. If you are talking from a usage perspective, like a consumer perspective, the best way to sell this and tell it, and I will say it to the fucking moon, is that it puts the personal back in computing. It gives the person in control of their computing experience, from the customization that you mentioned to other aspects of it. But, and you know, I'm not a fan of like these proprietary, like this is the PlayStation 5 OS. I'm not a fan of a lot of that lockdown stuff. You know, I have various Windows systems still, like, you know, I got the, for those that say I don't actually have other handhelds, oh, hey, look, in a 1X player. Anyway, that's running Windows, and the experience is god fucking awful. So, yeah, no, I'm going to say that it's not just the transparency community. That's great aspects of it. It can be great aspects of it, but a lot of that's from a development perspective. The consumer, the end line consumer, the person who will be using the product, because we have this tendency to view these as projects. I view all of these things. I view anything I use for Linux as a product, as a consumer. Different mentality, different mind frame. You can still be involved in the community even with a consumer mindset. So I do take issue with that take in general. One's more of a development take in mind frame, whereas most people are going to be coming at this normal people will be coming at this from a consumer mindset, and it's very, very fucking different. And sometimes the community doesn't like to get out of its own fucking bubble or its head out of its own ass and see that.
That's Linux, a powerhouse of an OS that's not only powerful but also incredibly versatile and adaptable. Why switch to Linux?
Okay.
Embarking on a Linux journey is not just about ditching Windows, it's about unlocking a world of possibilities and reclaiming control over your computing experience. Here are just a few compelling reasons to switch.
Again, the control aspect is totally accurate. I'm not going to slag on that, but I am going to slag on the transparency and the community aspect that they mentioned earlier. The selling point is putting the personal back in computing. I will keep driving this fucking point home as it relates to Linux. Now, you can talk about, well, Linux isn't an OS, it's a kernel. It's a brand, and that's really what it matters. And like, people can argue semantics and it's GNU/Linux and blah blah blah. Bro, nobody cares about the brand of PVC piping in my fucking house. What they care about is that the fucking piping works. That's most consumers.
Liberation from bloatware. Goodbye to pre-installed software you'll never use, unwanted toolbars, and
so this one's ironic given the fact that you hear a lot of Linux users whine, bitch, and moan, "Oh, it's bloated." To which my response is, use the fucking package manager. End of story. And the Windows bloat is a little different. Windows includes crap that no one asked for. Stupid game. Like, I just did a clean install of Windows 11 on this, and there's crap on there I don't want. There's crap on there I don't need. Like, there's a difference between basic functionality or like a aesthetic point of view, like for application choice, etc. That's a little different. Like core applications, what Windows does is throw shit like stupid games on there you don't need, etc. Like Windows 10. Like, fucking how many times did I have to uninstall fucking Candy Crush because I didn't fucking want it? But it ships with it, you know, because they have a deal with the developer, publisher, whatever. Like, there's just so much dumb that goes into Windows sometimes. And I'm not saying like what Linux doesn't have is dumb, because we do. But the other aspects of Windows that as a general OS has a lot of bloat, it does. I mean, you know, then you have the, let's put advertisements in your fucking file manager, and then, okay, then we have a wholly different story.
And the persistent nagging of trialware. Linux comes clean and lean, leaving you.
So the trialware thing, again, even Microsoft's starting to do, like, not so much trialware, unnecessary stuff. OEMs that ship systems, yes, those tend to have a lot of shit you don't need. And I'll be the first to admit that and say that. You know, I don't need McAfee and Norton trial versions. I don't need insert other stupid shit that OEMs add. Most OEM-based software that most OEMs make is usually god-awful. I'm looking at Sony, I'm looking at all the software from any OEM, Dell, Asus, etc. 9 times out of 10, hardware manufacturers cannot build software to save their fucking life. That's the reality. When the open source guys do it better, that's kind of telling. Tuxedo Control Center is fucking amazing compared to a lot of the fucking shit that most multi-billion-dollar OEMs can ship. It's kind of fucking pathetic.
Leaving you with the freedom to choose your own software. Freedom from updates. Forget about the hassle and uncertainty of forced updates that disrupt your workflow and potentially introduce bugs. Linux updates are transparent and optional, giving you complete control over the timing and frequency.
So updates are yes and no. Depends on your system. Depends on the applications you use. You know, I'm on I use Garuda. So anytime Discord updates, as an example, it whines about the updates. So guess what I gotta go do? I gotta go update Discord. If you're talking core OS updates and the open nature stuff that ships, then yeah, you can run whatever the hell you want for as long as you want. But if you can, as soon as you connect to a network, it's probably going to complain about updates. oh, this can't work, this browser doesn't work, etc., etc. That's usually the way it works. And that's not just necessarily an OS problem, that's a third-party application problem as well. So you do have control over when to update a lot more than you do on Windows, where it's like, oh, update now, or you can pause it for a week. Like, if you don't want to update for 3 years, that's totally your prerogative. But if you expect shit to constantly work for 3 years, it might not be so much the case. So it's relative. I will say that you have much more freedom to choose when to update, how often to update, and when to ignore updates. Microsoft doesn't give you that. That transparency and choice is totally accurate.
Security without surveillance. In the era of data breaches and surveillance concerns, Linux stands out as a beacon of privacy. It's built with security at its core, protecting your data without compromising your freedom. Customization without limit.
Security without surveillance. It depends. Like, you running community distros, like the security aspect on this particular, as they're talking about it, the AI is talking about it, specifically relates to your trusting the source. Because realistically, at some point, that's what security boils down to. It's you're trusting something. So I could be using the system and it is totally fucked and compromised. Don't know it. But you're trusting that it's not. Now, if you go and download whatever North Korea's Linux distro is that's out kicking around, and you don't expect stuff to, work 100%, be a little questionable at best, then, that makes more sense. If you are one of those, like, example, a distro that gets a lot of crap is Deepin because it's Chinese based, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but like, am I going to trust Chaos, which is a US developed based OS, or am I going to trust, Red Hat any more than I would worry about what a Chinese distro is doing? Because Red Hat has, contracts with the US military. How the fuck do you know they're not putting shit in the back end there? Because it's open source. Well, Deepin's fucking open source too. Welcome to it. Like, it's all relative. Are you trusting the source? That's how the security aspect of this works. So you're not part of the product, like in that regard, as far as like telemetry and all the other stuff, but you can most of the telemetry is either opt in or opt out, and it's not all or nothing like it is with fucking Microsoft or even Apple to an extent. So yeah, like it again, relative.
Limits. Linux is a canvas for personalization. Whether you're a design aficionado seeking a sleek and modern look or a tech enthusiast craving a geeky aesthetic, Linux can transform into your dream desktop. Choosing your Linux home.
Yeah, customization is totally a thing. That's part of putting the personal backing, personal computing. End of that argument.
With a plethora of Linux distributions to choose from, it's like having an orchestra of flavors to cater to your preferences. Here are 3 popular distros that cater to Windows users looking to transition smoothly. Ubuntu. The reigning champion of user-friendliness, Ubuntu offers a familiar desktop environment, a vast community of support, and a wide range of pre-installed software. It's a great choice for beginners eager to explore the Linux landscape. Linux Mint. If Ubuntu's modern aesthetic doesn't resonate, Linux Mint provides a traditional desktop layout that Windows users will find comfortable and intuitive. It's based on Ubuntu's stability and reliability, making it a solid choice for both novices and experienced users. Zorin OS. For those seeking a Windows-like experience without the bloatware and limitations, Zorin OS is the perfect match. It boasts a modern desktop interface, a sleek installer, and a collection of Windows-compatible software, making the transition seamless.
Distro recommendations. I detest doing distro recommendations just because it's so fucking subjective. If you want to go with any of those three, they're all Ubuntu based, Debian based, call it whatever the fuck you want. I really don't care. I'm not into the semantics argument about, oh, it's not fork, it's whatever, fuck off. Don't care. They're all based around the same stack generically. I'll just put it this way. The second one relies a whole lot on the first one. And I'll leave it at that. Overall, I don't care. Use whatever fucking distro you want. When it comes to making distro recommendations, it really does boil down to simply finding the right distro for the user. The user needs to understand what they're looking for, because there is a ton of distros that are very use case specific. Kali, as an example, is very use case specific. And that's just one. There's a ton of other ones that are use case specific, and one-offs and very niche in what they're meant for. And when you hear people whine, bitch, oh, there's so much fragmentation, it's like, bruh, have you actually looked to see what maybe the 5 or 6 core distributions are? You build around those generically, all the other derivatives, alternatives, and forks and everything else, you're pretty much fine. So, I'm not saying like certain other dumbass jack shits that are on here that, oh, distros don't matter. I'm saying for like application deployment and stuff, it's different, or like a core is how you direct people. I'm not going to say Garuda, as an example, is going to be very different than normal Arch, but Garuda is a prepackaged, pre-combined, pre-done Arch. Very different from normal Arch, but the core and a lot of the problems you might run into could still correlate from Arch to Garuda, etc., and vice versa. It's the same way with any of the other derivatives of the, big ones or the main ones or whatever you want to call it. Very, very different than distro doesn't matter. Just use Arch, just use Debian, which is a stupid ass fucking take. Because that's belittling what other projects actually add to the overall ecosystem. Anyway, enough rant there. But choose whatever fucking distro you want. I think the choices that they gave are based off, kind of like searches and popularity and that kind of stuff. I will say, at least they didn't use fucking DistroWatch as a goddamn ranking stick. Holy fuck, I hate that goddamn crap tap perk. I hate that shit show of distro rankings there.
Installing your Linux journey. Embarking on your Linux adventure is as easy as following these simple steps. Download and burn. Download the ISO file of your chosen distribution and burn it to a USB drive or DVD. Boot from USB.
And see, this is where you're going to lose most people. Most people don't know what the fucking OS is, let alone how to download an ISO, use an application like Etcher, burn it to a USB thumb drive. Most people don't know what the fuck a thumb drive is. Flash drive, USB stick is what most of them are going to fucking call it. They're not going to know how to change the boot order. They're not going to know how to disable secure boot, which some do require to do. So, again, I'm talking as for people who just don't fucking care about computing, but they need computers to get shit done. Again, it's perspective. A lot of these people are like, oh, well, they're Windows aficionados. No, some of these people don't really fucking care. Why do you think Macs exist? Because they don't fit the mold for Windows and the bullshit the Windows has. And trust me, the Mac has just as much bullshit, just in different style. Just like Linux has, and its myriad of stuff, has bullshit just in a different style. But, people will give me crap saying, oh, well, you're talking about people being stupid. I'm like, no, I'm talking about people who just don't give a shit about technology. We're a niche. That's the reality. And I'm talking about tech people in general. We're a niche. Linux users within technology. A niche within a niche. People who care about technology and Linux. A niche within a niche within a niche. That's the thing. So when I tell people, like, a different perspective. It's not to be a well, I guess sometimes it's to be a jackass, but it's to bring across to the people that are in that fucking bubble. Most of them and most of the world aren't in that fucking bubble of caring. So when we do stuff like this, and we're just like, oh, just boot in, blah, 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 like most people don't know how to fucking do it. It's like asking somebody to go ROM their fucking phone. Jesus Christ.
Insert the USB drive or DVD into your computer and change the boot order to boot from the external media. Follow the installer. The installer will guide you through the installation process, allowing you to customize your installation and choose the appropriate settings for your hardware. Embracing.
What I will say is the actual installation process is a much more refined experience than any fucking Windows. Recently installed Windows 11 on this, clean install. Linux was like 20 minutes. Windows was a goddamn fucking nightmare. Always is. Now, for those that want to know what this is the 1X Player Mini Pro AMD 6800U. It's like 32 gigs of RAM and a terabyte SSD. Windows on that device is fucking atrocious and terrible. And literally, I will say the following. The controllers are bolted on, basically, into Windows. Whereas on this, it's a seamless integration of a user experience. It's novel. So, guess what? Linux has the user experience portion, once you get to it, a whole lot more down than Windows does. Because getting updates and rebooting and blah, 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 blah. And don't even get me started on getting the eGPU to work on Windows, which that's also a fucking nightmare, but it's also a nightmare on Linux, just in a different way. So, sometimes we forget the steps to get to this install point. We need to figure out how to kind of bypass those other steps, because this shit's easy, but most people aren't going to take those other steps to get to this easy part. That's reality.
Linux is a decision that will not only liberate you from the shackles of Windows, but also empower you with a newfound control over your computing experience. With its open-source nature, vast community support, and continuous innovation, Linux is a journey worth embarking on. So, grab your USB drive, download your chosen distribution, and let the Linux revolution begin. Thanks for tuning in, Tech Trailblazers. Like, subscribe, and stay curious, more tech tales coming your way.
Okay, so as far as the overall video, like whatever cool AI generated, I'm going to assume probably a few mild edits, because the subscribe tick and bell thing that I heard a couple of different times, it's a very stock one that a lot of YouTubers use. I know I've used it in the past. Like whatever, like the AI voice is the thing that drives me the most insane with this stuff. Like some of the reasons I thought were kind of bogus and bullshit, because they don't take into account the mindset of most average people who use technology aren't people who care about technology. My phone don't work. What's the mentality? Throw it against the fucking wall. That's kind of how Windows is broken. How many times have you been on Facebook Marketplace and like if it's a Mac with the folder icon on boot, like they don't care, they don't know, they don't want to know, they don't want to fix it, they don't want to spend the money to fix it. Like they don't care. And I think it boggles people's mind in technology that people can't care about it as much as they do. Bro, do you care about baking as much as somebody who does baking for a hobby or loves, or enjoys doing it during the holiday season? If your answer is no, swap spots with them. That's how they feel about fucking technology. That's the reality. So the reasons are kind of whatever, feel very AI generated overall. I could be wrong, but like for as far as the scripting and stuff, but like it just feels so like cookie cutter with every other video like this that I've done where it's like, oh, it's about this, and then it's like, nah, bro, like you guys need to kind of go outside your fucking bubble some more. Get your head out of your ass occasionally, Linux people, because you don't, and I'm a Linux guy, and I'm saying that. So yeah, other than that, I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm indifferent. I really don't care. The AI generated stuff, frankly, bores the fuck out of me. As far as content wise, and the voiceover didn't fucking exactly help. So other than that, I don't know what to tell you guys. Comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Indiegogo, Patreon, all that shit's down below, and I will catch you guys on the flip. Peace.